Dear friends, welcome to my Edu Dreams. This is presentation by Dr. Syed Hayat Basha, Assistant Professor of Education, Aligarh Muslim University Center, Malappuram, District, Kerala. If you have any doubt regarding this video, you can WhatsApp me on 917736338828 and also you can write to my email at hayat83n@gmail.com. If you have not subscribed to my video till now, you can subscribe for more videos. Dear friends, in the previous video we have discussed about meaning and definitions of communication and also elements of communication process. In this video we are going to discuss about types of communication in teaching learning process. This video is very much helpful for AMU B.Ed students and also students who are pursuing their B.Ed in various universities and colleges of education. Let me begin with the topic. Types of communication. There are two types of communication. Number one, verbal communication, and number two, non-verbal communication. What is verbal communication? In a classroom, teachers interact with students in different ways. The primary mode of interaction is delivering lectures where teachers talk and students listen. Think of a situation where the teacher asks orally students to submit a home assignment. Students prepare the assignment and submit to the teacher. Teacher evaluates the assignments, writes his/her comments or suggestions in the assignments and return back to the students. In this process, many communications takes place, such as teacher asks students prepare assignment, students submit written document, teacher gives his/her comments, etc. Such type of communication in which the message is conveyed either verbally or in written form is called verbal communication. Verbal communication means either in a written form or in a verbal communication. This is continuation with the previous slide. Verbal communication is the expression of ideas with the help of speech, sounds, or written symbols combined into words and words into sentences that could effectively convey meaning. Verbal communication is the expression of ideas with the help of speech, sounds, or written symbols combined into words and words into sentences that could effectively convey meaning. Here it is written in 2 times because you must understand the slide. Verbal communication means an expression of ideas with the help of speech or sounds, written symbols are combined into words and words into sentences that could effectively convey meaning. There are 2 types of verbal communication. Verbal communication is of 2 types: oral communication and written communication. These 2 types of verbal communication. Oral communication involves conveying message verbally. You may mostly see verbal communication in classrooms where the teachers deliver instruction or subject matter orally, lecture, through discussions or explanations, etc. Oral communication means lectures delivered by the teachers in the classroom. Written communication involves conveying message through written symbols such as notice, reports, memo, circular, email, memoranda, manual, handbooks, etc. In education, there are variety of written materials that conveys message to students. For example, the textbook is a written material that conveys the subject information. Dear friends, you are aware that today technology has penetrated and remodeled almost all activities of our life. How technology impacts the verbal communication. As discussed, lecture method is common in teaching learning process and mostly carried through oral speeches. But with availability of a range of technologies, oral speech is supplemented by technologies like microphone, presentation, etc. For instance, when the number of students in class is less, technologies are not necessary for conveying message. But when the students' number goes large, technologies like microphone, radio, television, etc. are required. And if you want to make your students sitting at far off places listen to your lecture, either radio, television, or mobile may be used. For that, you need to record the lecture and broadcast through various means. Even live lectures can also be used, so technologies should be supplemented with the verbal communication, enabling sender to make communicative, effective, and achieve desired goals. What about written communication? Suppose you want to convey some message to the students. You may written the message in a paper and paste it on the notice board, or you may write the message in student's notebook. This is the conventional mode of written communication, but today technologies like email, text editor software, presentation software, etc. are used. For example, if you want your students submit homework the next day, you can compose the text and send through email, or else you can post the message in social media platforms like Twitter or WhatsApp so that it will reach students in no time. Nonverbal communication. Dear friends, you might have seen teachers intentionally using their body parts during their lecture. Teachers nod their head, blink their eyes, stretch their hands, walk throughout the class, point their hands, make eye to eye contact, and so on. While doing such intentional body movements, body language, they do interact and communicate some message with the students. Such communication is known as non-verbal communication. Non-verbal communication involves conveying message without using words, either spoken or written, or else the communication between two or more persons using facial expressions, postures, and gestures, etc., is called non-verbal communication. You know that teachers mostly use verbal communication, oral communication, but verbal communication is most case is supported by non-verbal communication. Types of non-verbal communication. Personal appearance. The attitude of the audience towards the speaker depends on various factors such as the way he or she dress, speak, etc. Even before the speaker utters a single word, the audience forms an opinion about the speaker by merely seeing. This is because of the impact created on the audience by the personal appearance of the speaker. So, you should be cautious while addressing the students in your class. You should dress neatly, speak properly, and uphold a good attitude. Number 2. Posture. Posture refers to the way one sits, stands, and walks while speaking in any situation. In classrooms, you should stand straight, and it is best to balance your weight on both feet, but that does not mean that you should look immovable. There should have been certain degree of flexibility. The sitting posture can also communicate some message. Therefore, while sitting in the classroom, you should sit straight and both feet should touch the floor. Gesture. Gesture is a means of supporting one's speech. Many gestures like movement of hands and legs and shrugging of shoulders accompany oral communication. Messages like yes, no, come here, go there, etc. are sometimes communicated using gestures. Gestures are also used to emphasize various concepts during teaching. The gestures should be directed from one's mind and heart without being conscious about it. Gestures are never noticed by the student unless they are intentionally done. You should not forcefully use gestures because they may appear jerky and artificial and indicate to the students that you are nervous and uncomfortable. Facial expression. Facial expressions reflect the feeling, message that the speaker tries to convey. A number of emotions like joy, sorrow, anger, and surprise, etc., can be shown through suitable facial expressions like smiling, frowning, tightening the jaw muscles, raising the eyebrows, etc. The facial expression should fit in with the message and the gestures speaker uses. For example, while explaining a gloomy story, you cannot be smiling or grinning. Some teachers do not change their facial expression during the teaching. This indicates that they have no feeling for what they are explaining in the classroom. Eye contact. One of the important techniques to understand the nature and behavior of the students is keeping eye contact. Eye contact helps the teacher to communicate message and get feedback of the teaching. While teaching, it is important to give attention to all the students because each student would like to feel that you are talking to him or her individually. During teaching, do not always look a single student or students sitting at one side or front or back row, but eye contact should be changed from time to time across the classroom. But this should never become a mechanical action. Research about the effects of eye contact suggests that it may help anyone, whether a student or teacher, to remember what they are seeing and hearing. Classifications of communication: intrapersonal, interpersonal, group, and mass communication. So, these are the classifications of communication. Classification of communication: intrapersonal communication. The word intra denotes within. When we communicate within ourselves, it is intrapersonal communication. And this is very important type of classification of communication, and this may be asked for your UGC NET examination and other competitive examinations. Intrapersonal communication is a kind of internal dialogue that takes place within us while contemplating, conceptualizing, and formulating our thoughts or ideas before we actually express them. This can take the form of thinking, analyzing, dreaming, or introspecting. Daydreaming, self-talk, and memories are all facets of intrapersonal communication. Due to individual differences, the levels of intrapersonal communication may vary from one person to another. Interpersonal communication. This is the communication between two persons. It is inter because communication is between two persons. Our everyday exchanges, formal or informal, which may take place anywhere, come under this type of communication. There is a certain amount of proximity between the sender and receiver who may be able to see each other closely. Watch the facial expressions, postures, gestures, etc. In interpersonal communication, the role of sender and receiver becomes interchangeable. Interpersonal communication is what is shared between friends, parents, and children, husband and wife, worker and boss, or teacher and students. Group communication. As the name suggests, when people communicate in groups, this is known as group communication. This is an extension of interpersonal communication where more than two individuals are involved in the process of communication. The groups can be both formal as well as informal, depending on the type and objectives of communication, but generally they have common interests and goals. Mass communication. In mass communication, the communicator is separated from the audience in terms of time and place. Communication takes place simultaneously with the help of an electronic device in which an institution is involved. These electronic devices are known as mass media such as print, radio, television, the internet, etc. The audience is mass, that is, it has a heterogeneous profile, are unknown to each other and located in widespread locations. Feedback in mass communication is considered to be weak and delayed as compared to group and interpersonal communication. But with developments in ICT, communication is more interactive and feedback is not much delayed. Even now, the print media such as newspapers, journals, etc., engaged in mass communication do not generate as much feedback as other types of communication. Dear friends, there are some samples of questions for term and examinations. Number 1. Differentiate between verbal and non-verbal communication. Number 2. What do you mean by mass communication? Give examples. Number 3. Define communication. Give an example. Number 4. Describe the communication process. Number 5. Distinguish between intrapersonal and interpersonal communication. Give examples. So friends, that's all in the presentation. Thank you for watching my Edu Dreams. Next topic is on tools of communication and use in teaching learning process. Special thanks for those who have subscribed to my Edu Dreams. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my Edu Dreams if you have not subscribed.